Welcome to Dirt Diaries, the podcast where the women of agriculture get real. From muddy boots to boardrooms, we're digging into the unfiltered stories of the FarmHers, ranchers, and every her shaping the future of ag. This isn't just shop talk, it's real talk. We're covering career paths, big wins, hard lessons, and everything in between. So whether you live it every day or you're just ag curious, pop in your earbuds and get ready. These are the raw, inspiring, and wildly relatable conversations you won't hear anywhere else. Let's dig in. Hey y'all, well, welcome back to Dirt Diaries. And today I'm sitting down with someone who truly embodies the modern day cowgirl. She's bold, brilliant, and not afraid to shake things up in the Western world. Sadie Noblitt, she grew up with deep roots in both California and Texas. Raised in a rodeo and ranching family where horses and horsepower were just part of everyday life. These days, she's channeling that same grit and passion into the Western fashion industry as the brand manager for Charlie One Horse at HatCo. If you've ever seen a hat that made you stop scrolling, there's a good chance Sadie had something to do with it. In this conversation, we dive into her journey from the show pin to the branding boardroom, and how she's now working with artists like Lainey and Cody to keep Western culture both rooted in tradition and totally fresh. We talk about what it's like being a young woman in a male-dominated industry, how mentorship and family have shaped her path, and the importance of showing up as your most authentic self. We also get into the fun stuff, reality TV dreams, guilty pleasures, and the hustle behind the glam. Sadie brings the laughs, the insight, and the kind of wisdom you don't always expect from someone still early in their career. So grab your favorite hat and settle in. It's time to get dirty with Sadie. Sadie, thank you so much. I know you are a cowgirl who wears many, many hats. And so it's so fun always getting to chat with you. Obviously, I get to hang out with you because we're friends, but see you at so many different events. But just getting to know you a little bit better, the girl behind or beneath the cowboy hat, I should say. But so again, we're going to dig in on Dirt Diaries here. And let's just kick it off, Sadie. You have an interesting story, I feel like, from growing up in California to obviously landing yourself in Texas now. Kind of walk us through that and tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm from California originally, from a farming and ranching family on both sides of my family. I come from a divorced household, so my mom's side has all farming and ranchers, and then my dad's side is cattle ranchers and horse breeding. And so I've grown up all around that from both sides. I grew up riding English horses, and then I also did Western. So I got a little bit of both. I got the English, the 3-day eventing. It helped really with my posture and how to ride a horse and learning that whole side, which that was actually what my mom's side did. And then my dad rode Western and rodeoed, and so I got a little bit of both. With a divorced household, honestly, my mom was a little tough with the rodeo and didn't want us to do it, which I guess I get it. I don't get it personally, really, but so that was a little difficult I knew that I wanted to follow that passion and go down that road. And there was always something that was calling me in that direction. And I have always been really close with my dad and really bonded with him. And so that was something we were able to do together, even my sister. And so on the weekends when we would see our dad, we would go gather cattle and brand and do all those fun things. And those are core memories that have stuck with me. And I think even my younger sister as well, Avery. And
you're a hand with the rope. I've seen you rope.
Oh,
and you are. I mean, it's very, very impressive. You're good.
Well, thank you. But that definitely took some time and some practice. And it wasn't really until high school when I got to focus on riding Western. And I actually ended up moving into my dad's house full time. And so that's when I was able to kind of take it by the reins and really excel in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's also where I started to learn a passion for the industry as a whole. My dad has Pro Equine Group. It's our family company. And so within that is the cactus brands, cactus ropes, gear, saddlery, and then also HatCo. And within HatCo is Stetson Resistol and Charlie One Horse. And then we also have Fastback and then a feed company called Cowboys Choice Feeds. And just all within that, I got to see the behind the scenes of the marketing aspect. And so I was very blessed and fortunate to get to see that. And without really realizing it, it was something I found a passion for. And I started loving it and sitting in the business meetings or the business dinners at night when I'd come home from school. And so, off of rodeo, I was able to go to Cal Poly on a rodeo scholarship, and which was so much fun. That was a great school, and I went to the college finals there and was fortunate
That's
to get to
cool.
do that. But that's where I kind of focused on ad communications and marketing, and so I furthered my education with marketing, but also just ag as a whole. And I got to take so many cool different classes, and so that was heavy on my heart. And then once I was done with school, I moved to Texas, where I was able to work for HatCo. It was just luck of the draw. There was a job opportunity, and so I started at the bottom, and as I should, and worked my way up. And 4 years later, I'm now the Charlie One Horse brand manager and the HatCo social media manager, and heavily involved in the Resist All marketing. And it's been such a dream of a career so far. And we work with such wonderful people. And I mean, as you know, we work in such a great industry where
Yeah.
there's nothing like it with the people and the morals and values. You can't compare to any other industry.
I think it's interesting because you brought up the people that you guys get to work with, and you work with people inside the arena, outside the arena. But I know anybody listening, they're always fascinated. You guys work with a diverse group of people, obviously a lot of artists, musical artists as well, which I think is pretty cool. And Lainey Wilson, Cody Johnson, I mean, to name a few, I think George Strait, you've done their photo shoot. You've done like a lot of that. Jason Aldean, maybe, or maybe,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But obviously, Lainey Wilson is just so cool. Seeming, I don't know her,
She's
but
killing it.
that's what I'm
She
like. I
cleaned
know
the
you got
house.
to work with her and do that. Kind of talk about that, and I don't know, just how fun for you that is, and what an experience that is.
That's a super fun part of my job is the photo shoots that we get to do with our artists, but just their lines as a whole and getting to work one-on-one with their teams. So we do have Lainey Wilson, we have Cody Johnson with Resist All, and Jason Aldean and George Strait. And so those are all different types of people and different demographics that you would go after. So that's also fun working on like the hat side and designing of what those people want to wear, what they want to see, and then the artists seeing their like thoughts and ideas come to life is really fun to work with them. But Lainey specifically has been such a fun project. I mean, it's fun to work with a girl too, to just get creative and throw all the crazy stuff on a hat. And she just recently came to the factory and was working on her 2026 line with us. And she's just, I mean, we had a ball. We had mimosas going, and we were just having so much fun with it. And
I love
they're
that.
just real people. And I think
Yeah.
that's also something that is like a mutual, like we treat you like everybody else and vice versa. And so we can just sit here, have a nice conversation, and get some work done.
I think that is so funny that you mentioned working with a female versus a male, because I mean, what they're willing to do and the lengths are willing to be creative, I think with a hat is probably pretty different.
Yes, just a
Yeah,
little bit.
I
I
would
mean,
think so.
and Lainey's fun too because she wants to be really involved with what her hats look like, which as she should. I mean, she wears so many fun different hats, and so she'll have a vision and she sends it. She's like, "Hey, this is kind of what I want to embody," or we can go around an album that's going to be coming out or some songs, and she'll give us like little hints. And so even when it goes down to naming the hats, every name goes back to a song or it
Oh,
attributes
cool.
to something special to her life. And so that'll be really fun, especially now that she's going to be getting married. You'll see in 26, there's going to be some fun little hints at that. So,
Oh, I love that. Growing up the way you did, obviously, and I know you mentioned you came from a divorced household, obviously, both though, and both families in the industry. Um, what's something, and you mentioned being close with your dad, and I know you have a great relationship with him. What's something he kind of taught you and pushed you along the way? Because you didn't have to come back and work for the company. I know he would have been proud of you, whatever you did. But what's just some things you learned from him and some advice he gave you along the way that you just are really thankful for?
one thing that sticks out to me is authenticity, just being true to yourself and just bring whatever talents you have to the table. I think my dad is a great attribute to that. That he's just always himself. It doesn't matter who he's around. He's Dustin, and he
Yeah.
brings his best self. And I think that is good advice for everybody. Just be you. You have your own uniqueness. Don't try to put yourself in a box or be somebody else. It's like, just be you. And he
Yeah.
actually has this motto that he's always told us, and it's about racehorses, that life is like a racehorse. And the thought is the horses run with blinders on, so they can't see the horse to the left or the right. And so the moral of that story is to focus on yourself and just be you, run your own race, and don't try to worry about what others have going on or their paths. Just run your own race. And so those are two things that I think stick out to me
I
about
really
him.
like that.
But
I
as a
really,
whole,
really like that.
it's kind of a good one.
Yeah, that's a really good one. When I had saw that in the email and that you had wrote that, I was like, dang, that's good. I was like, good
Solid
one,
advice
Justin.
from old
Solid
Justin.
advice. Oh yeah. Okay, many different hats, like I said, that you wear. Let's talk a little bit about the different shapes of hats, because obviously you grew up in California. It is an agriculture state, everyone.
Yeah.
I know, to much dismay, or they're surprised sometimes. But throughout the board, you're at a lot of events, and stores across the country, you're everywhere, and people shape their hats differently. Let's talk about that a little bit, because I always find that interesting.
I do too. Somebody was actually asking me the other day, and it was somebody that's not in the industry, and she was like, what do you think about when like people walk by with a cowboy hat? And I was like, you can tell a lot about somebody about the shape of their cowboy hat, which is so interesting. You can kind of pick like where people are from or what event they do in rodeo just off of their hat, which is so interesting to me. I mean, there's so many different ways to shape your hat, and I think it's definitely a personal preference of, I mean, one, what looks good with your face shape, and you can balance yourself to make it look right, especially with the sizing of your brim, a bigger or smaller brim. And so I think it's fun, like about hats, is the customization to it. And so it's made for you. You don't have to try to make the hat work for you. The hat will work for you. Just find the right puzzle piece, basically.
I like that too.
Yeah.
That's just funny because showing cattle, there would be some of the guys, they are ranchers in like Montana, Wyoming, and their hat shape was always very different. Some of them were very classic cattleman shape, but then there's a lot that weren't, like the crowns and how they were. It was just always interesting to me. Very, very interesting.
We're starting to, going back to Lainey Wilson, she's doing a lot of fun shapes. She's got more of like Kojo has like a brick crown, and then
that's right.
Lainey's going for more of like the older styles. We're bringing a lot back of old Charlie, like the Tom Mix, and then we have this certain style that we call the pig farmer. And if you look back in the days at pig farmers, they used to wear a certain style of hat, and so we're actually bringing that back, and she just loves it, which is so funny. But you are seeing some of the older styles come back.
Yeah, and I know there for a while there was like the flat brim, like the circular, as I hit the mic, flat brim ones. Those are so popular. The fashion hat, whatever. I'm not sure exactly what they're called. I mean, I have some, or the open road, which I feel like those have remained. But and so the flat brims have remained too. They're still around. But then a lot of people, what do you think? When was that for y'all that the switch happened where people really did want just like a traditional cowboy hat?
I would say honestly, it was like a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Is what sticks out to me. It was after COVID, and then, I mean, a lot of it can go back to Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Yellowstone created this like nationwide hit for Western's cool again. But on top of that, you were seeing in fashion shows that people were wearing cowboy hats. So I think it was just like a natural, like people were going back to their roots, is what I think. I think honestly, COVID did have something to do with that. It's like people were looking for more authentic, like back to our roots, looking for some like, homely isn't the word, but like just back to our roots. And so I think the cowboy culture has always been very consistent with that and hasn't changed. So I think that was something that people found interesting, and then Yellowstone hit, and then it just kept rolling. Something fun for Charlie One Horse this year, actually at the end of this month, is we're launching the cowgirl hat, is what we're calling it. And so I've found that other companies have claimed to have the best cowboy hat, or this is the cowboy hat, this is the cowboy hat. I mean, that's across all brands, but nobody's claimed the cowgirl hat. So I thought this was a good opportunity for Charlie One Horse specifically, because we have a little bit of something for everybody, and that's where Charlie One Horse like excels in that area. And so we've been focusing on the women's fashion particularly, and we've always done flat brims and cowboy hats, a mixture, but with the Western trend going on, I thought it was a perfect time to launch the cowgirl hat. So we have a big campaign behind it, and the idea is that it's for everybody. It's a very inclusive hat, and so it's for the girl that does rodeo, but it's also for the concert goer or the girls that's going to Nashville for the weekend. So it's an affordable hat, but it's ready to wear out of the box. Has a buckle set and comes in 10 color options, a bunch of fun
10?
colors. 10 is a lot.
That's a lot.
Yes. So in FR, you have a hat for every outfit.
Look at that. I like it.
And we also moved the C to the back of the hat.
Okay.
So you can see this hat, I don't have a C on the front. So that's something new for Charlie One Horse because they're known for having the brand on the front, which I think will be fun and something different. So moving forward, we'll always have like a vintage, authentic line where we'll have the C on the front, and then we'll also have a line that's like a new modern look with the C on the back.
Something for everyone. That will be fun. So when you were in school and you were obviously taking marketing classes, social media was a thing. You learned all about it. You kind of grew up in the age and the era of like evolving with social media as well.
Yes.
Did you see yourself in the role that you're in now at the company?
Absolutely not.
Oh,
I was actually, well, not to make that sound so bad, but I was so just enjoying the classes I was taking at the time, and I was hyper focused on rodeoing. I was one of those kids that was like, I'm just here to rodeo, this and that, and then I naturally just found a passion for what direction I should go down. And I mean, if the job would have not been offered to me, like, hey, if you'd like, we know you're looking for a job, if this is an opportunity, we know you like marketing, and you could come over here, start in as assistant. And I started under Mary Jane and got to learn about all the factory. But before this, I didn't really know what I was going to be doing. When I was in high school, like sitting in meetings and discussions, it was kind of funny. That was like, I want to say when social media started taking off for brand marketing.
Yeah, and I want you to really dive into that because that actually is a great point.
Yes. That's when you're fine. That's when it really started. And I remember sitting in my dad's office just casually after school, and I'd be scrolling through social media and I'd be looking at the different brands that we have. And I was like, you know what? You guys should really be doing this. You guys should try this. Or, I just started learning about the algorithm and I didn't really realize it, but I was falling down this path of starting to understand social media and the opportunities that you can really push yourself or a brand. And I just naturally started going down it, which can be a dangerous hole, but it can also be very powerful if you use it in the right ways. And so that was something I brought to the table. And it was funny because my dad would go get on a call and he'd be like, hey, we should be doing this. And I was like, you're welcome.
You're welcome.
16. But so that was actually really fun. Once I started working at HatCo, I already had an understanding of social media. And then after Cal Poly, I actually, during COVID, started taking classes at Colorado State online. And so I was kind of just double dipping. It was COVID, and I was like, this is it. We've got to knock this out. And so I ended up doing that. And that's where I focused also on social media and marketing. But actually in the major title is social media, which is interesting. So that kind of really educated me on how it's a powerful tool, which same with like sponsorships and our rodeo athletes, because within the company, like Resistle's got a bunch of rodeo athletes, and so does Charlie One Horse. And so I'm always looking out for kids that like, you guys this is a missed opportunity. You should try doing this or that. And so it's really a powerful tool. I feel like that as well, that it's a big part of your job too.
Yeah. And it's a good way to connect with people, obviously that are in your social circle, social media wise. And that always sounds weird to say. It's a great tool that we've learned for farmers and ranchers. You don't know a lot of these women across the country, but we're all advocating for the same thing and wanting to share stories, for the same purpose and reason. And so I like that because there's so many people now that are learning about the land and learning about the Western lifestyle, learning about Western fashion even, but learning about where their food comes from, learning about being a cowboy or a cowgirl. And I think that's pretty special because I actually genuinely do think people care or want to know.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. So we have these little games that we're going to play.
Okay.
And then we'll go back to a little more serious talk. But these are kind of fun little games. And we're going to start off now with this one. It's just a break the ice one, but we kind of have several. But what is something that you really love that's like your guilty pleasure?
My guilty pleasure. that does not deal with ag.
Doesn't deal with ag, or it can if you want it to. Whatever, yeah. You could secretly have to eat, I don't know, 3 spoons of peanut butter at night, but
Oh my
just
gosh.
something you indulge in. Guilty pleasure.
Okay.
It could be a TV show that you'd be like, oh, this would shock people.
Oh, what would shock people? I'm honestly not that mysterious, I feel like. I don't do anything out of the ordinary. I'm just like a natural horse girl that likes to go ride her horses. I guess a fun fact would be poems in my family. You would never think this, but my family is very poetic.
Okay.
For example, every birthday, my dad will write a poem for you.
Wait, that's sweet.
And so even his godchildren, he'll write a poem. And that's something his sister would write poems, and my grandpa and my great grandpa did the same thing. And I didn't really know that that was like a family tradition. And then naturally, it just carried on. My sister and I both write poems, but that's like how we show like our love for our loved ones, is you can put it out on paper, and it's kind of a sweet little tradition that we all do.
Yeah, that's definitely a sweet tradition. I love that. If you could participate on one reality TV series, which one would that be?
Oh no. I don't watch too much of reality TV.
Okay, I could pick one for you, and it could be wrong. I could see you on something like The Amazing Race, or where you have a partner, you can like have to work things out, but I don't feel like you'd freak out. Like you would kind of be like, okay, we might be stuck somewhere, but you'd figure it out. But I don't know. I could be wrong.
I hope so. I might like panic if I end up in like a small space or something.
Okay, that's why you're definitely not good for Fear Factor then.
Okay.
Or Survivor. Maybe not Survivor.
But not Survivor either. But actually, I think I could do Survivor. I would.
Yeah, because you're not in a small space. You're on an island.
Exactly.
That'd be different.
But I am a team player, so I feel like a team event for sure.
Can you sing? Would American Idol be an option?
Oh my gosh, no. I wish I could sing.
Same, I get it. I'm just.
Oh my gosh.
I always get jealous if people could sing, because I would love to be a great karaoke. I wish that was like my party trick, but it's not.
Gosh. Me too. Same with instruments. I wish I could play an instrument. I have taken so many different, you name it, guitar, piano, all the different instruments. We've taken like these classes, which I don't know why, but my mom would like start us in something, and then we do it for a short amount of time and then move on. So
the next
even if
instrument.
you come to my house, there are a bunch of instruments, and it's like, oh, you could play? And I'm like, well, jack of all trades, master of none.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that sometimes. Okay, if you could be an animal for a day, what animal would you be?
Honestly, if I could be an animal, I'd love to be my dog, because she's pretty spoiled. She has an easy life. I have a Queensland heeler, and so she's supposed to be a working cattle dog, and she's a great dog. I mean, I'll take her wherever, and she can help you out on the ranch or around the horses or the cattle. But now I live in Dallas, living concrete cowgirl life, it feels like right now. But so I get to go ride, and we have our horses out here and everything still. But so now she just sits on the couch all day. So she could do the best of both worlds, I feel like.
Yeah, she's literally like your coastal cowgirl. Like she can be in California, she can be in Texas. Oh, lucky dog. Lucky dog. Okay, we're going to switch gears now, and we call this the hat trick. So you have to assign a hat style to each of these personas. Okay. So the rookie cowgirl, what would this hat style be? What would it look like?
I would give her a traditional cattleman's crease, and I would give her, actually specifically, we have a new Lainey Wilson hat in our line, and it has these like almost peacock ostrich looking feathers, but they're not in your face. It's just like a casual traditional look with a little flair to it. That's what I would give her.
I like that. Okay. The rodeo queen.
The rodeo queen. I would give her Resistol's electric collection, because we have all the hats in the different colors, and they pop and they stand out.
Okay. The CEO at a stock show and rodeo.
I would give him a Resistol or a Stetson, probably white. Maybe we'd go for a Stetson El Presidente white hat.
Oh, El Presidente. Oh, yeah. And that made me think, after this, I've got something to talk to you about too. Yeah. Okay. The girl who's never touched a horse but wears a mean pair of boots.
Well, I think she should wear Charlie One Horse's the cowgirl hat. That would be perfect for her.
That would be perfect for her.
Yes. And she could pick a color to match her boots.
And what did your hat look like when you were 16 years old? Has it always
Mm,
looked the same growing up?
no, it definitely has changed. I used to wear Charlie when I was little, and then in high school I wore Resistol. Now I'm back to wearing both now, but I've always worn a traditional cattleman's crease. Now sometimes I'll wear an RB profile, switch it up a little bit.
I like that. Um, well, ending that game, thank you so much for playing. But going off of that, you've had some great experiences. I know we talked about obviously the country music artists that you've been able to work with and do, but you've had other really, really cool experiences. I know you were in DC
Hmm.
during the
Yes,
inauguration. Kind of tell us about those stories because I don't know, those are things that people it seems so untouchable and I don't once in a lifetime opportunities. You've had a lot of once in a lifetime opportunities, I feel like.
that's true. I honestly have lived such a blessed life so far, and we get so many neat opportunities to be a part of, and DC was one of them. We went this year and we had hats for sale and also as gifts for all of the cabinet in Washington. And
So
also
cool.
for Trump, we had two hats for him that were custom made. And so we got to give those to him. And then the cabinet came by our hotel and picked them up. We were there also for the Texas Society, State Society had a whole event where all the different politicians came and spoke. And that was really neat to be a part of and get to see. But we had a hat branding bar there, and then we had different customizations that the guys could do. And it was really fun to see these powerful, influential people just walking around in a cowboy hat in downtown Washington, D.C. But my dad specifically has had neat opportunities to be around Trump quite a few times and some of the different governors as well that he's close with. But going back to Trump's first presidency, my dad got to go to the White House, and that's
Wow.
when he first gave him a Stetson. And so he was invited there for it was Made in America Day, I believe it was called. And so, the fun fact, they're going to bring that back this year, so he'll get to go do that again.
Love that.
So I can't wait to see that. But that was very special for him, and just to shake his hand. I have a funny story about that. Actually, my dad. So you go into DC or into the White House, and they've got these tables set up, and there's like right next to him is I think it was like a crawfish pot with Louisiana, and then there was some other people like just these random things, and then they're the one people that are like a Western cowboy hat, and everybody else has a different like piece of equipment. And here my dad strolls in, and he took a lovely lady from our factory, our hat factory. She came, which was very fitting because she's daily making all of the hats. So that was a once in a lifetime experience for her as well.
That's
Um,
cool.
so they go in there and they go through security, and they're like, well, two things. You can shake his hand, but don't slow him down. Don't talk to him. Don't give him any gifts. Like, don't give him gifts. My dad, of course, is like, okay, in his mind, I'm 100% doing all of these things. And I'm like, we didn't know that going into it. So they ended up originally, they were in like the back of the room, the cameras were in the front. And my dad talks his way to the lady. He's like, the hats really look good on camera. You don't want the all these other, I don't remember specifically what was up front, but just random things in my, you don't want those. The hat is very Americana. You need it there. It's going to be this thing. And the lady finally goes, okay, moves her straight to the front, right in front of the camera. So they come back later, and now they're waiting for Trump to come in. He makes his way by, and he's watching him go through, and he's got a camera crew with him. And he'll say, like, hi, thank you for being here. Shake your hand, move on. And he's going all the way through. He goes to the hats. And he stops and he goes, my grandpa and my great grandpa had a Stetson back in the day. And he let my dad talk to him about the hats. And he was like, well, we actually made two custom for you. And he goes, really? Can I see them? And he picks them up and he looks at them. And they had this long conversation. And you could see the lady in the background is like, oh my gosh, you're not supposed to be doing this. But my dad wasn't forcing him. He was just having a nice conversation. And he was all about it. But at the beginning, my dad shook his hand. And so some of the listeners may know how Trump shakes a hand. And when he shakes your hand, he kind of like pulls you in as a dominance thing. And my
Interesting.
dad knew that. So my dad, when he shook his hand, he beat him to the pool. And so my dad trumped Trump. And I think that's so funny. And I guess in the moment, like Trump kind of looked at him and was like, okay, like I see
All
you.
right, cowboy.
Okay, cowboy. And so then they continue on with their conversation, and Trump takes both of the hats. They had a little Stetson hat for him and then a cowboy hat, and he took both. And my dad looks at him as he's looking at the cowboy hat, and he goes, "You should put it on." Which absolutely should not be asking him that. But Trump like looks at my dad and is like, "You just really did that, didn't you?" Because all the camera crew is right there,
Yeah.
so they all heard. And so he goes, and that's where the picture is, and he puts it on.
Brand marketing at its finest right there, too.
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. Like, that was such a cool moment, and I love every time that picture comes back around. And the poor guy next to whoever was right next to their little spot at the table, he barely got a hi out of Trump, and then they moved on because he spent so much time with my dad. But it was such an awesome opportunity, and so they get to do, I mean, we as a whole do a lot of fun opportunities like that, but that was definitely a once in a lifetime.
I mean, it's the president of the United States. Like,
yes.
How many times in your lifetime will people, be in the same room or have those experiences or put their product, this is your family's like blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, this is your all's livelihood. Like, and so being able to give a hat to the president, that's cool.
Amazing. And I mean, cool. We used to, Stetson has always given the president hats, and then there was a gap year. I believe Reagan might have been the last one that got a hat from us, and then just who was in office, it didn't really work out, and then Trump was like the way that we were able to bring that back, which was really special. So even in their museum, they have a bunch of Stetson hats for all the different presidents, which is really neat to see.
Speaking of Ronald Reagan, you kind of grew up near where he was in California. I think he was,
Yes, he used to have a house right in our town, actually, where we grow up. And I don't know if you've heard of the Rancho ride.
Yep.
The Rancho Visitores. So that just happened. But he used to go on that ride, too.
Which is really neat. That's a great tradition that I know people do. I mean, you don't have to be in California. You have to be invited in. And we won't tell all those secrets. But it's just, I like the tradition. That's one thing, too, before we go on to some more of our questions. Growing up in this industry, having the job you have, but working for a company that you do, what does tradition mean to you?
Tradition to me, I would say, is something that's passed down, obviously, but it needs to have like some roots in it. Something that's meaningful and something that is special to you, like how I was talking about the poems or like my family. I mean, a lot of families have family reunions or different special things, or I guess the word is tradition that you just pass down to your family. For us, we've had a lot of different traditions that are passed down. I mean, even I feel like now the hat making is going to be a tradition carrying on. So that's really fun to share.
That's really cool. I like that. Okay, we're going to play some more fun games right now. This is called Brand or Buck Off. And it's just a playful branding edition. So I'll give you some phrases or trends, and if you'd put a hat on it or leave it in the dust. Okay. So fringe on fringe.
Ooh, that's a no-go for me. I'd leave that in the dust. I like fringe, but I think it could be overdone sometimes.
I agree. Neon cow print.
I don't think I've ever seen that in person. That would be a very good concert hat, actually.
It'd probably be like a Coachella or something.
Yes, very Coachella. For me, I would leave it in the dust, but I could see it selling well.
See?
So that's where I'm indecisive.
Rhinestone trucker hats.
Personally, for me, not so much, but I definitely could see people wearing those. I'm more of like a less is more person.
I like that. You're very classy. Very Ralph Lauren, classic.
Oh, well, thank you.
Cactus everything. Whoa, cactus print everywhere.
I feel like I need to say yes because of our cactus brands, but I think I think about like a home goods brand with all the little cacti, and that's a little much for me. So I'm so boring. I'm leaving everything in the dust.
It's okay. Cowgirl core meets Y2K.
Ooh, I could see that working.
Well,
I could see that working for someone.
Okay, now switching up again. This is called What's Under the Hat. And these are all tailored to each person. So Jenna has done a good job. Like, it's just funny because yours are all based obviously around the hat. And, somebody else that we did, we're all based around a farm or different things
Cute.
are, it's fun. But just the hidden truth behind, one of these questions or each of these questions, but it could be heartfelt, unexpected, or funny. But a moment in the arena that didn't go as planned for you.
Ooh. I actually have. Can I kind of switch the question a little
Yeah.
bit?
Yeah, you can.
So this reminds me of a story. I was thinking about. You had mentioned to me like a rodeo fail. So that's what that
Mm-hmm.
kind of reminds me of. And my fail would be that I learned. This sounds so silly. That you have to get on a horse properly. We used to have this spot. It was like this platform, and it was when I was. I had a really tall horse, and I couldn't always get on from the ground. And so I was like, I'd get lazy, and I'd get up on the deal, or I'd get up on the fence, and my horse would move forward every time, and it was driving me nuts. And I was little. I was like, I just fed up with it, couldn't get on, and so I finally just jumped. And my horse moves forward, so I end up on the back of the horse. The horse takes off. He's now bucking, and I come off, and I fall off on where the wash rack is. And so that's cement. And I had braces at the time, and it just full on lips stuck to the braces. My horse is now gone. I was by myself because everybody else was off doing trail riding or doing something. And I was on my own. And so it was forever until somebody came back. And my sister's like, where's your horse, for one? And I couldn't talk. Long story short, I had to go to the ER to get my lips removed from my braces.
They're just stuck to your braces?
Yes, it was horrible. Like both of them.
Oh, both?
Yeah, and it was like my lower lip went up high. It was not fun. Don't suggest it.
Don't suggest having your lips. Ow.
No.
That's actually a great story, though. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Hold on to
I'd
the
like
horse.
a picture. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That was like at the same time that happened, we had this wonderful family from Australia in town, and it was going to be the first night I was going to meet them, and they roll up and they're like, sorry, we're meeting you like this. And my face is all swollen and goes, hi.
Like, hi. A fashion trend that you secretly love, even if it's a little cringy, which is kind of interesting for you because you are a very classic cowgirl. But what's a fashion trend that you love that people maybe would surprise people?
I mean, as I'm sitting here in a blazer, I love the corporate cowgirl crossover. I feel like that happened maybe a year ago. It really hit, or it could be over a year now. And I think that solidly has stayed for even people that don't work in the industry, people outside just crossing over that Ralph Lauren, Banana Republic into the rodeo wear and adding boots and a hat. I love that. And I think that's going to stick forever. I think that's a very solid trend.
I think we've seen people like Brooke Rollins. She tried to, she's worn that too. And it looks and Christina, it looks good on them.
Yes.
What's one of the weirdest things that you've ever found in your tack room or somebody else's tack room if you've entered?
What comes to mind is going through, somebody had their trailer parked at our house, and I remember they sent me on a mission. I'm pretty sure it was my dad sent me on a mission looking for something. I'm like digging around up there, and I find like a saddlebag, and on it is tooled this like not super appropriate thing, and I was little, and I remember bringing it out, and I was like, is this what you're looking for? And my dad's like, oh my gosh, whose is that? Kind of like scarring moment. So now I'm older, I now know what that was, and that was not the best thing for me to find. But
interesting that it was tooled on there. So
yes,
there was thought behind that.
There was thought in that, unfortunately.
A major branding moment that you're proud of, but haven't talked about, but you might have already shared that with us.
Let me think. So something that basically made me become who I am now.
Yeah.
So I guess I would go back to riding English horses, and like that really gave me a good balance in beginning to riding, and that's something that not everybody would know about me. And I was very competitive in it, and I did 3-day eventing for years. I mean, and so did my sister. She did it for a very long time. And so that really was the basics of my riding, which I think really helped when I started rodeoing and roping. And because I got a late start to rodeoing, that really benefited me. Another thing that's a little interesting is FFA. I was heavily involved in FFA, and I went to high school at Slow High in San Luis Obispo, California. They have a phenomenal FFA program, and so just being able to go speak and be a part of all the different opportunities they have there really helped me now today. And I was so painfully shy growing up and even in high school, and so that was got me out of my comfort zone a little bit. At the time, I was hating it so much. I was like, this is way too much for me. And then when I was in high school, I also was a rodeo queen. And then I was on the board. So, like, the president of our districts and all that fun stuff. And so I think all of those things at the time were out of my comfort zone. But looking back at it, I'm grateful for them because they pushed me to where I am now today. It's kind of like all the different pieces in my life that have been little off, and I was thinking, like, what am I doing with my life? Everything has kind of pushed and funneled down to one thing that I didn't know I would end up doing now.
What made you do those things if you were so shy? Did somebody encourage you or push you, or did you just know you should do it yourself?
I did not know I should do it myself because I was so shy. But my parents honestly pushed me. It was my dad and my stepmom, Marna, who is such a blessing in our life. She's wonderful. She would put these opportunities in front of us and be like, you should really do this. Or honestly, I just have a really good group of people around me,
Mhm.
like close, chosen family, friends that wanted me to do things, or um, people that were on the board, other adults would be like, you know what? And they would almost put a little like guilt trip on me. You know, we don't have anybody else for this, and we think you would be fitting. You should do it. You can step up to the plate. And I would feel so bad because I have a kind heart that I would be like, okay, I got to do it. And so I would just push through
You're like,
it.
even if I'm gonna pass out right now, I guess I
Yes.
have to do it because 'cause I'm so nervous to be with all these people, but you did it anyways.
But I figured it out. It was almost like a fake it till you make it. Like, come on, turn it on. You can do it. You're capable. You have the tools. Just do it, kind of thing.
Which is good advice for, I think, anyone of any age and any like a male or female, but specifically females to really just kind of
Go for it.
go for it, to just do it. Okay, so we're gonna be wrapping up. Any lasting thoughts? But um, with that, obviously, Dirt Diaries. We kind of thought about this and we're like, oh, we all used to have journals or diaries. Obviously, you have always been around poems. Um, Not everybody always had a diary, but sometimes you would want to read somebody else's diary. I know I did growing up. I had a diary, but I'm like, oh, I wonder what this person's writing in theirs. Um, if you were to open a diary of yours now and looking back, if there's something you would have wrote in it that you remembered or advice for your future self, what would that be? What would you want it to say if you were to open up your diary now?
I would wanted to say something about confidence, and that I'm actually somebody that struggles with confidence, and I wish that I had more of it. And I've always struggled with that since I was little too. So I think just trying to be yourself and don't be afraid and go for it. Like, stay true, be authentic, and don't be afraid to go mess up. That's how you get better. Go mess up, go do it, go try something different. Step outside of your comfort zone. You can't grow unless you step outside of your comfort zone. And that's something my dad has really preached to us. Um, he honestly, my grandparents are very old school, and they are just traditional. My dad and my great grandpa, who's still alive and still rides, he's in his 90s. They live
Wow.
in Oklahoma. They have a ranch there, and they have always just simple livers. And so they've always just, this is what they know, this is what they're going to do. My dad was the first to step outside and go get some grain and try something different, take a risk. And so I really look to that as, don't be afraid to go take a risk. Go do something. Go make something out of yourself. And so that's what I would try to give the advice to myself, which I'm still giving myself today, is just be you and don't be afraid and have some confidence. Go do it.
Well, I appreciate you coming on here, having the confidence, which I know you put yourself in situations. You always speak and you speak so eloquently. And just sharing your story because your story is very unique. And obviously, from your California roots to being in Texas and the various industries that I feel like your family is involved in, but really taking over such a leadership and a role at HatCo. It's been really fun to watch. Um,
Well,
you are
thank you.
very knowledgeable, especially in the social space. You wear a lot of hats. I
I
genuinely mean
do.
that.
No
You
pun
really do.
intended.
No pun intended. You wear a lot of hats. Anybody listening, which we are so grateful. We were digging in the dirt here with Sadie Noblitt. Any lasting words, Sadie, that you want people just to remember you by, or, next time when they're thinking of something to think of you about?
Oh, well, I would think just go be you. And also, we live it every day. Go put the hat on and go cowgirl up.
I love that. All right. Thank you so much, Sadie.
Thank you.
Woo! Good job. That's it for today's episode of Dirt Diaries, where the women of ag leave no story untold. If you loved what you heard, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone else. Until next time, keep showing up, speaking out, and getting your hands dirty.